had to tell a grieving widow that her husband's $2 million trust was essentially worthless. After 30 years of marriage and paying thousands to set it up, she was about to lose half his estate in probate, the exact thing the trust was supposed to prevent. I'm Tiffany Weber, and I'm a real estate attorney in North Carolina. After handling thousands of real estate closings and estate matters, I've seen the same 5 trust mistakes destroy families' financial security over and over again. But here's what's really shocking. Every single one of these mistakes is completely preventable. And by the end of this video, I'm going to show you exactly how to protect your family from losing tens of thousands of dollars to these trust traps. Now, I know trust can seem complicated, but I'm going to break this down in plain English. No legal jargon, just the real world truth about what actually happens when families make these mistakes. So let's start with what a revocable living trust actually is, because here's what it really means. It's your backup plan to keep your family out of probate. Most people know about wills. You see them in movies all the time. But here's the problem with wills. When you die with assets in your name, they get frozen. Your family may have to hire lawyers, go to court, and wait months or even years to access what's rightfully theirs. A living trust is different. Think of it like this. Instead of owning your house as John and Jane Smith, you own it as John and Jane Smith, trustees of the Smith Family Trust. When you die, there's no freeze, no court, no waiting. Your successor trustee just steps in and handles everything. Sounds perfect, right? Well, that's where these 5 mistakes come in. Mistake number 1, the funding failure. This is the big one, and it's exactly what happened to that widow I mentioned. Her husband created the trust, but he never actually put his assets into it. Here's what I mean. Creating a trust is like buying a safe, but if you never put your valuables in that safe, they're still sitting on your kitchen table when the burglar comes. I see this constantly. Someone sets up their trust properly, transfers their house and bank accounts into it, but then 5 years later, they buy a rental property and title it in their own name instead of the trust name. Or they inherit money from their parents and deposit it into a personal account instead of the trust account. When they die, guess what? That rental property and that inheritance money have to go through probate anyway, costing their family thousands in legal fees and months of delays. Mistake number 2, the update trap. Now, here's something that might surprise you. Most people think they need to update their trust way more often than they actually do. People call my office all the time asking, do I need to amend my trust if I buy a new house? The answer is usually no. Your trust doesn't list every single thing you own. It just says something like, when I die, everything in my trust goes to my children equally. The key is buying that new house in the name of your trust, not updating the trust document itself. But here's when you do need an update. Let's say you have 3 kids and your trust splits everything equally. Then you start a business with your oldest child and you want that child to inherit the business instead of splitting it 3 ways. That's when you need a lawyer to amend your trust. Mistake number 3, the coordination catastrophe. This one gets technical, but stay with me because it's crucial. Your trust doesn't work alone. It needs to coordinate with your other legal documents. You need what's called a pour-over will. Think of it as your safety net. If you accidentally leave something out of your trust, the pour-over will catches it and pours it into your trust. But you still have to go through probate to make that happen, which is exactly what you were trying to avoid. You also need powers of attorney that work with your trust. Here's what happens. If you become incapacitated, your successor trustee handles trust assets, but your power of attorney agent handles everything else, like your IRA or 401k. I've seen families where different people were named for these roles, and it created chaos when someone became incapacitated. Everyone was fighting over who had authority to do what. It's important that you pick the right people for the right roles. Mistake number 4, the beneficiary blind spot. Here's where people get really tripped up. Your IRA, 401k, and life insurance don't go into your trust. They shouldn't. These are called non-probate assets because they have their own beneficiary designations. But here's the mistake. People spend thousands setting up their trust to leave 40% to one child, 30% to another, and 30% to the third. Then they completely forget to update their $500,000 IRA beneficiary designation that still names all 3 kids equally. When they die, the trust assets get divided according to their wishes, but that massive IRA gets split 3 ways, completely throwing off their entire estate plan. Mistake number 5, the communication breakdown. This is the one that breaks my heart the most. Someone dies and their family has no idea they even had a trust. They can't find the documents. They don't know what assets were in the trust. They end up going through probate anyway because they can't prove the trust exists or what it contains. I saw a case where the family spent 6 months and $15,000 in legal fees trying to track down their father's trust assets because he'd never told anyone what he'd done. So remember that widow I told you about in the beginning? Here's what really happened. Her husband had created a beautiful trust, but he'd made mistakes 1, 4, and 5. He never funded it properly, never updated his beneficiary designations, and never told his wife where the documents were. The bottom line is this: a trust is only as good as its execution. You can have the most expensive, perfectly drafted trusts in the world, but if you make these 5 mistakes, it's worthless. If this video helped you understand how to protect your family's financial future, hit that subscribe button. I'm here every week breaking down complex legal concepts in plain English so you can make informed decisions about your most important assets. And don't forget, if you want more information about estate planning and real estate law, check out my other videos where I deep dive into the legal terms and processes that affect your everyday life. Because at the end of the day, knowledge is your best protection against these costly mistakes.